Okay, y'all, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Shotta Shot by, of course, me. And today we have, actually, tell me your name. What's your name?
My name is Jermaine Gibbs.
So, yep, we're here with Jermaine today. And can you just start off by telling us how you got started?
So I got started, my grandmother purchased me a camera when I was probably 8 years old. Back then it was a film camera. And I remember Rite Aid used to develop film, so I used to take photos of different family functions or just walking around the street, and then I would run to Rite Aid to get it developed and pray that at least 5 of the roll of 24 or 27 will come out.
Man, they were film, right?
This was film days.
Oh my goodness, I do have a couple film cameras, but I couldn't imagine how it would be like. You have to go to get the film, then you gotta get it developed, and then you gotta like pray and hope that it has enough for what you're trying to shoot. So it's honestly insane. But I mainly shoot nature all the time. Do you have a preference on what you shoot?
Oh, that's a good one. I love street photography because I love storytelling. My second favorite probably would be, I used to love shooting concerts because I love the excitement, I love the lighting. Yeah, that'd probably be my second thing.
There's really a lot of things you can do with concert photography because of the lighting. Like, I don't really see there's like a wrong way to shoot, to edit, because like when you're doing concert photography, there's so many possibilities that you can do with it. It's endless. And then with street photography, of course, it's like, I definitely feel like it's uncovering the history, especially if you do something in black and white too.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like, Gordon Parks did street photography too, and it just really opened up on the black community and the history of it, which is insane.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been doing this?
Ooh, now that's gonna be telling my age. About 30 plus years.
Really?
Yes.
So, it seems like you have some experience here, because I see you also teach others.
Yes, so I've been teaching photography since about 2014. So I have 2 programs. I teach youth, and then I teach adults or anyone else who would love to learn photography. But one of the big things I love and enjoy is teaching the youth.
So how has that been going for you?
It's going good because, with the new age we're living in and social media, things are a lot different, but it's great to see kids come in and they're very shy and timid and they don't know each other, but now we literally got 1 more class left, and just to see like they became a team, they became a family, and they kind of look forward to come to class and learn more. We had a field trip to DC, that's where they got to meet you at. And that really just kind of opened their eyes of street photography, because everything that we had been doing so far was just in the studio or just in a classroom setting. So being able to let them actually do street photography really gave a whole lot a lot more confidence, and it allowed them to see like, there's so many things like, so typically you just walk down the street. But when you're walking down the street with a camera, you look and you see everything. Exactly. Yeah. So you just see things differently, and it was great to be able to see them see things as a beauty in spite of what the environment may be.
I feel like when you have your camera in an environment, it's like, well, not really like a professional setting, because it could also be like a freeway setting, right? You're just looking around, just taking pictures. I actually used to do that all the time, because I do have a couple of street pictures, but sometimes if I was walking like down the harbor or anything, I would just go down, take pictures of things I would see, So it's really just insane how that works, because it's like you have a whole different mindset. But you had said that you traveled to DC. What are other places you've traveled while teaching?
The last 6 years I've traveled to a different country every October. So I started curating these travel experiences strictly for creatives. So we started in Tanzania. We've been to Ghana, we've been to Ethiopia, we've been to Kenya, and it's just been amazing to see how people see things. And again, it's like open their eyes to endless possibilities, especially when you're talking about street photography, we're talking about culture. You know, again, every second you're taking a step, there's something to see, to shoot. And just to be able to, one of the big things I love to do is bridging the gap. So I always set up a meetup with the photographers in whatever country I go in, and with the photographers I'm bringing from the States, so they can exchange information and see the cultural difference. And, you know, really when it comes to art is the same all across. It's almost like smile. No matter where you go at in the world, smile is the same. And one thing I really love is no matter where you go at with a camera, people don't know any other word. They know picture, picture, picture. So it's amazing. And then you take the picture, then you show them the photo. And it's just like, so what I started doing was places I know I was going to go back to, I print out pictures and then I take them back with me. And sometimes, especially like in very rural areas, this is probably the first time the person have ever seen a camera, or B, their self in a printed photo.
That sounds like amazing. You know, you're going to different places, and it's really like, I love how you can travel anywhere, but you know how they know the word picture, and then you show it to them. They still have that same like amaze thrill, or like when they get shown the photo, they're still like, wow, this is amazing. Oh wow, that's great. And I just really love that about wherever you can go. That's the thing about photography. It's very versatile. You can really travel anywhere with it. It's something you could really do as a hobby. You could do it as a profession. It's really so many things you can do with one little camera. And like you said, it really is art, because art has many forms. It's not just your typical painting or drawing, but you know, it could also be graphic design, or like even with the pictures, if you really edit them, like if you're like, you take pictures but you're really like into that editing, there's like an amazing things you could really create with that.
Yeah.
And that's honestly astonishing to me. But like you said, is there anything that was memorable to you, to the places that you traveled?
Oh man, there's so many memories every place. But I think some of the most memorable things are some of the people I've met. I've traveled to over 40 countries, and there's always one person that stand out to me, and they kind of gravitate me, and we have a conversation. And I always like, okay, I got to come back just so I can have another conversation with this person, or just kind of, you know, the culture. I don't know. Travel is like, I always tell people, it's hard to put into words, because, you know, I go places, and the way I travel, I don't travel like a tourist. Like, I want to be in the thick of the culture. Like, I go out in the bush and we sleeping in a tent in the woods, and there's no Wi-Fi signal, there's no restaurant, there's no bathrooms. Like, I'll always call it like the Nat Geo experience for Black creatives, because we do that same concept. We are sleeping in the woods, we're eating amongst the locals, we're doing everything as if a local, because then you can truly get a better feel for it and understanding, and to help you appreciate how blessed you truly are back here in the States.
I definitely feel that, like, you can really grasp the culture, or like you can understand why they do the things that they do. But I definitely feel like if you really take it to put it in their shoes, you can really connect with cultures. But even being from a different culture, I love how other cultures can just click and connect each other from even one simple similarity between them, which is amazing to me. Like, it's really about the culture, the community. It's really so diverse. So I already know that you're doing like a ton for the community. I mean, like just clap it up for yourself, man. You're really going out here, you're teaching the youth, you're teaching young adults, you're teaching adults how to do photography. And it's crazy how this is a skill that people do not know, which is honestly insane to me, bro. Cause the good thing is, like, we living in the times now where social media has people wanting to do content. And one of the best ways of content is everybody want a good photo, you know, because, you know, you may take one photo and that may not come out, and you shoot 20 other photos just so you can get the look that you want. I feel like people don't know that videography is connected to photography. So like many people want to do content creating, but I feel like one perk of photography, of doing photography before you do content creating, is that you know the angles, you know the lighting, you know the settings, you know how to set up a studio and all that. But if there is one thing, since you already are doing so much for the community, is there anything else that you plan to do, or like what have you already been doing for the community?
So outside of photography, I have a nonprofit, and since 2016 I've been traveling to Ghana every year. I think I missed 1 year, and that was because of COVID. What our nonprofit focuses on in Ghana is clean water, education, and infrastructure. So in 2022, we started building our first school there, and it opened in 2023. This is our 10-year anniversary, so I'm looking forward to going to Ghana in June and do the official ribbon cutting for the school being 100% complete. So that's like one of my biggest things that I'm most happy about. Of all the things I've accomplished, that's probably one of the things that mean the most to me, because it's giving 120 students in Ghana a free education. And you know, with education is knowledge, and knowledge is power. So if you can equip people with a good quality education, you can completely change somebody's life.
That's amazing that you do. You really gotta take me there someday.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the fact that you built an entire school is just like you helped build an entire school to give knowledge, and I feel like that's really important for the youth, because the youth need knowledge. They need to know how to do things, and it's crazy because sometimes like the world is good, but like sometimes people don't know how to do like simple things. They don't know how to cook, or they can't solve basic math problems, and I'm like, the education really needs to get better, or it really needs to be shine light on it. You know what I'm saying? So, what would you say? I know you say your grandma gave you a camera. Was that your inspiration behind it? Would you say?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I was very shy. I didn't like to talk. So for me, the camera was my tool that I can document. I can capture things without having to use any words. So that's kind of what made me gravitate to it. And I just love being able to look through the lens. And again, back then, you didn't know what was going to come out. You just on a prayer, hoping that something would come out, because, you know, back then it's totally different. And I mean, luckily when I had film, it was color. But just imagine back in the early days when it was just strictly black and white. But for me, I just love black and white photos, because it's like when you look at a black and white photo, depending on the scenery, you can't tell if it's from current time or it was taken 50 years ago.
And I find it amazing how it could be like that, and then also how even despite using film, the picture it has so much meaning behind one picture, and it could be even on the web, but the meaning behind that picture, it's gonna go like just off the rocket, just through the roof. But what made you start teaching street photography?
Well, what really happened is so many people was like, man, if you ever start teaching, I would love to be in one of your classes. For me, I started teaching because I just when I started photography, I was reaching out to so many different photographers, and they was like brushing me off and not wanting to help. And I said, man, if I ever get to the place where I could help people, I made a commitment that I would always be that shoulder that people can lean on or reach out to if they had a question. And it wasn't about money, it was just about being able to help people, because I know when I started off, it was almost impossible to get help. I had to figure everything out, and I was like, no, if I could save somebody 5 years by just giving them knowledge and helping them, then why shouldn't I? Because, you know, the Bible says it's always better to give than it is to receive. So me being a giver, it was just, it's a natural thing to want to help people.
So how do you manage your finances, or how are you able to manage the finances? And once you do get the finances, how do you invest it into your teachings, or how do you invest it into the youth or people?
Well, the good thing is outside, so I've been a full-time photographer for 15 years, but I grew up in a house with entrepreneurs. So my grandmother had a business, other people in my family had business. So I kind of understood the concept of being an entrepreneur and understanding that saving is important. You know, you don't want to work and spend all your money, and then when you actually need something, you don't have the funding that you need. So I learned at an early age. And again, I started my first thing as a entrepreneur was 13 years old, being a paper boy. I get that money, I save it, I put it to the side. Then I used to carry back when I grew up. One of the big things you could easily make money on the weekends was going to the supermarket and carrying people bags to their car. So back in those days, I would go early in the morning, and some Saturdays I come home with $30, $40. For somebody 13, 12 years old, that's a lot of money back then. Now that probably wouldn't seem like a lot of money, but back then it was a lot of money. So I just loved to be able to see the money I could save, and then if it was something I wanted, I didn't have to depend on my parents or grandparents to get it. I could just buy it myself. And I kind of apply that same method. And now in this time, I know I want something, I got to work hard for it, but also don't just spend, because then when that slow season come, you'd be like, man, I wish I would have spent all that money, because now I don't have anything.
I definitely feel like it's just insane how like you can just work at a flow and a pace. Especially like I'm just speaking for like entrepreneurs period, how they can just work at a flow in a pace where they can be like, okay, we can get this and that. I mean, I do it sometimes, but it's insane how we can do it. So I know you've been teaching for a very long time. You've been just inspiring others, just blowing their minds. But, you know, what have you learned from teaching as well?
What have I learned? Oh, I learned a whole lot. One of the biggest things I learned is never get comfortable in thinking that you know everything, because technology is constantly changing. When I first started shooting, it was DSLR. Now everything is mirrorless. So it's like companies has taken all their focus off of building and making new DSLRs to go to mirrorless. Also, when I started, retouching wasn't a heavy thing that people was requiring. But now, of course, with social media, everybody want to look perfect. So it's like, okay, do I stay in this box of not retouching or not doing this, or do I have to adjust based on the climate and where we at? So being able to, oh man, I invested all this money in DSLR and these lenses, which it could work on a mirrorless camera, but you just get better quality. The mirrorless cameras are a lot lighter, so it's like, okay, I got to make this other investment. So understanding that, you know, things are always changing, technology is always changing, so you got to be open to accept that, you know, you invested this money now, but you might have to sell the same camera that you spent $3,000. You might have to sell it for $900 in 2 years, because things have changed and the price have went down, and it don't hold the value.
I remember having a switch from DSLR and mirrorless. I actually used to use DSLR for like a long time, and then I think, yeah, I had watched a video on like, well, it wasn't really like, yeah, it was like a comparison, and I also had to like do my research, like compare the prices, compare the timelines, how long would it last, and I just had to compare it up. But I ended up getting the mirrorless R6 that I have now still. So definitely times are changing, but like definitely, what if they come out with something that can, I don't know, maybe have a self-editing system,
right,
or something like that, and it'd just be like, dang, this is basically worthless now. I
right.
gotta adjust. But it really takes out. You need to time. You need to plan it. And you need to spread out all the money that you have, and you really need to think logically about it.
Yep.
For sure. So, would you say, how would you balance your teaching, shooting, and your family time? Because I know you have family. You said you had grandma listening, nice and welcoming. So how would you balance all of that and yourself?
So for years that was a struggle for me, because it was like stay busy, and the work was just constantly coming. But then I had to realize, let me step back, because yeah, it's nice to stay busy, it's nice to make the money, but where do you really want, what's the most important to you in life? And for me, my family is more important than money is. So, you know, trying to learn that work-life balance, especially as a creative, is a little challenging because, of course, like a lot of people want to work on the weekends. Okay, well, that's with my family home, so then I need to be with my family, or we may want to travel. So it took me some time. I'm telling you, that probably was one of the hardest struggles, is learning how to have that work-life balance and also access. Because, you know, some people just want access, but I had to learn, like, I have to be like a business. You can't be reaching out to me 9 or 10 o'clock at night asking me about a photo shoot. Like, you're not gonna call Walmart, or you're not gonna call your doctor's office at 9 or 10 o'clock and talk to them. So you have to, you know, like, okay, these are my business hours from 9 to 5. And after those hours, you can leave me an email, but I won't get back to the next day. And if I'm on vacation, I'm not answering the phone call. I'm not responding back to emails. I'll leave a note on there that I'm out of the office from this day until this day. So just learning that, you know, yes, money is good and you like to stay booked and busy, but really being an entrepreneur is about freedom.
I definitely feel like it's important to establish those barriers and then establish your work hours, because usually we work for the customer's work hours, right? Which is good and all, but you also need to think for yourself. So it's like, well, I do, because they're thinking about their family, they're thinking about what they have to do, but you got to think about your family, what you got to do. Like if I'm getting contact, if I'm getting contact at 12 a.m. and they're like, hey, you want to come out do this shoot, blah, blah, blah. Realistically, even if I'm awake, I'm not going to do that shoot because this is not even my work hours. I'm not ready. Like, it's just, you got to get mentally prepared for it, and you got to have that already scheduled. Like, if it was already scheduled, cool, but it's not already scheduled. So you got to really work out that schedule with other people. So would you say like you've had many like that before?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. A lot of. I don't accept last minute bookings. You cannot reach out to me at 12 or 1 o'clock in the night, and if you do, I'm not going to respond back, because normally by 8:30 my ringer is off, and I don't turn it on till the next morning after I drop my kids off. And once I get to the office and get settled, then I'll start responding back. But I used to, as soon as somebody would reach out to me, I would respond back. Like, oh yeah, this good, I'm responding back. It's like, no, don't give people that much access to you. Let them know that they got to treat you just like they treat a real job or a real business. So you can't reach out to me anytime you want to and expect a response. Okay,
so what would you say? Like, I know you've done a lot, and I know you said one of your challenges were balancing your family time. Would you have any other major challenges that you have come across?
I used to have a challenge with buying equipment. I was I gotta get this. Like, no, slow down and get the basic necessity that you need. And I had to realize what's my needs versus my wants, and only purchase those things that I actually need that's going to bring a return of investment versus just having something just to have it. Because most of that stuff I buy just to have it, I wind up buying it, use it one time, and then it just sit. So I think that was my other struggle, was that. But now I'm at a place where, okay, I got the basic, I got everything I need to get the job done. That's all I'm focusing on. Anything else, I'm not getting it.
You definitely don't need all of the fancy equipment. Having the basic is just good as well. You know, I think I said this before, but I've started macro photography. I only had the basic stuff. I never had all the fancy stuff. I just had a simple flash, a macro lens, and I just went out and shot. I never had the big lens or anything. So it's really amazing how you could just adjust to the basic stuff, because you really don't need big fancy lenses or the big new flashy cameras. All you need is the basic stuff. So, you know, I gotta ask you, how does it feel to have your own personal studio?
It actually feels amazing. One of the things I love about having a studio is I can design it the way I want to do. and I can shoot anytime I want. And then two, just having it for other photographers that don't have a studio, if they need a place to shoot, they could come in and shoot.
So, would you say like what did you teach your students, or like did you mostly I know you say you mostly did studio photography, but like have you done anything else? Like I know you did street photography, or like what have you been teaching them?
So we mainly teach street photography and then studio photography, headshots. That's kind of most of the class is on those types of photography. But then we also focus on the restorative justice component of it, which is acceptance, accountability, and forgiveness. So that way it's not just giving you a skill, but it's also giving you other things that you should know, but you can't expect people to know these things, so I reinforce it in the classroom.
I feel like a lot of people just don't know these things.
Yeah.
Like most people are just like mean and nasty and just. I met a few rude customers. It's just you just gotta keep going. You gotta keep doing what you're doing, you know. So that's especially with the thing now. I feel like a lot of people want to keep up with the trends on social media, and that like you were saying before with the mirrorless camera and all that, people want to keep up with the trends. You gotta keep up with the times. Sometimes you just want to slow down.
Right.
You just really want to take in the art of photography, or just sometimes you just maybe you don't want to buy that yet, or maybe you just want to wait, see what's next. So I definitely feel like you just sometimes just need to take a step back.
Yep.
And be like, oh. So I feel like that's definitely crucial. That's another skill for sure. But I definitely want to thank you for coming out and doing this podcast with me.
I thank you for having me as a host. I mean, as a guest, not a host. I'm tired. It's been a long day.
Maybe you'll host one day. We'll never know.
Right.
So I have one more thing.
Okay.
Is there any what advice would you give to your students or anybody else who's trying to do photography?
I think the biggest thing I would say is chase your dreams. You're gonna get no's along the way, but that's all it takes is one yes to completely change your life. So keep going until you get that yes.
Yeah, that's for sure, because there was this one time, I don't know, imagine if you're in this scenario, right, where you have a school, right, you just take pictures for a one picture a day, they hire you for the picture a day, and then they like your photos so much, they let you do a whole school building. They let you do the exterior, they pay you for it, they pay you to do other headshots for other opportunities, and it's just honestly insane how far one yes can just get you.
Exactly.
So yeah, I definitely feel that, and thank you for coming out again. So
appreciate you.
And what's your name again?
Jermaine. So my Instagram is J _Uniqueeye, and my Facebook is Jermaine Gibbs.
All right. I'm your host for Shotta, and I'll see y'all in the next episode.